So this is the Q&A for 15 minutes about things liturgical. But before we do that, I do want to give you some background so that, because some of you brought up phonetics. We tried to put as many phonetics in the book as we could, but we didn't want to make the book too big. We wanted to be able to put it in one hand, and that saved us a lot. Now, something good, we are going to publish, we hope, a Fenkito. You know what that is, a Fenkito? Fenkito is a Syriac word which means treasury. So years ago, before the renewal in Lebanon, the American church had a Fenkito. So we had the Book of the Mass, and we had a Fenkito with about 30 different liturgies of the Word and 2 different anaphore. And then in 2005, when the Patriarchal Commission published their book, they said no other liturgy should be used. So America had a very, very rich liturgical tradition, and Lebanon, I'm sorry to say, squashed us. So now we're making a petition to increase that, the variety of liturgical texts, and we hope that they'll accept that in Lebanon. So we're starting to, this is the first few years that I feel a little bit more confident that Lebanon is not just living its own world, and you guys in the intishar, as they call us, in the diaspora, you just take from us. Now we're really contributing. And I think if they allow us to do this Fenkito, you'll see new hymns, new liturgical celebrations, new anaphora, with the word anaphora, Eucharistic prayers. So I'm really looking forward to that. So I'll give you an idea so that you know how vast. This is why music is important to us. Art is important to the Byzantine church, the Greek church. The hymns are important to us. For instance, our divine office, morning and evening prayer. We've already translated directly from Syriac 800 hymns. 800 hymns. We've already translated 800 hymns for the morning prayer and evening prayer. That's how rich we are. This Fenkito, we will take from a 14th or 15th century manuscript, handwritten, in which it has the morning and evening prayers for special feasts. So we'll take opening prayer, the Husoyo, the Kolo, the Yatro, the Mazmuro, those things from there, and we'll put it together. For instance, the feast of St. Anthony of the Desert. We don't have that feast. It's in the 13th and 14th century. We just have to pull it out of our pocket and translate it into good English and good hymnody. So that's some good news. And someone was asking me about, Ms. Habib, you were asking me about the children. So we finished 4th grade and 5th grade, Faith of the Mountain. Most of you are familiar with that beautiful series. One of our young priests, Joe Shibley, has been working with a professional company. In the 4th and 5th grade, we've already put several hymns in it. So not just you can see it, but you can hear it. There'll be videos, there'll be music, mixed multimedia. We're taking clips from The Chosen, if you've seen The Chosen, scenes of Jesus' life. Yeah, so, the catechism will come alive. So my hope, if I live long enough to see it, we have a divine liturgy with a Fenkito, with hymns and fullness of life from the early centuries of the church. And then we'll have a catechism that our children can go one-on-one with their mom or dad, or in a classroom, or they can just do it themselves. And we'll have a divine office, morning and evening prayer. That's not just written. It's not just something we read. It would something be animated with music. And the Maronite church is really unique like this because the Syriac church So I'm talking about the Syriac Orthodox and the Syriac Catholic. They have not protected the different melodies. Many of their melodies are very meager. Same thing with the Byzantine. They have eight tones, and 8 tones with harmony, and that's it. We have like 200 different melodies. Now, you had mentioned this earlier. Our music, what's special about us, it's agricultural music. It's not like the peace and quiet of the Gregorian chant, which is beautiful. It's not like the glorious harmonies of the Greek church, which is beautiful. It's da 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 da. Da 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 da, milking the cow. So, it can get lost, but if you're careful, you can get most of it, and that's important. That's why I think I appreciate Father so much. He went through to see which English translations work fairly well. That Zamia Nafsi Ilay, that's beautiful in Arabic, it's beautiful in English. But keep in mind, those are kind of recent hymns that were created. Now, the Syriac hymns, and this is why I don't like the screens in the churches. Why? Because pretty soon everybody's going to come up with their own hymns in those places. If you stay with the book, it's more like a classroom than a movie theater. And if it's a classroom, we'll learn. Those Syriac hymns are ancient. They go back 4th, 5th century. And the deep theology, if you want to understand deeply the mystery of Christ and the church, it's in those Syriac hymns. It's not in the modern hymns, which are beautiful. It's in the Syriac hymns. We refuse to translate from Arabic. It has to come from the Syriac for the hymns. So that's what Father was mentioning, that in order for the repertoire of the Maronite Church really should be focused on those hymns. And the people of God have the right to those hymns. I don't like it when, I don't do this very often, but sometimes I'll go to a place and they'll substitute for that hymn of the day, the opening hymn or the colo or something, and I'll stop them and say, now let's go back to the book and let's do this hymn. That one was nice, but this one is more ancient. So we'll do it in English and in Arabic. So that gift of the Syriac tradition is really, and to be honest, of all of the Syriac churches, you have the Chaldeans and the Malambar and the Syriac Orthodox, Syriac Catholic. They do fairly well with their hymnody, but nobody does as well as the Maronites. We've studied it, we've gone deep into it, we put the melodies into proper music, and we've translated it into different languages. Even Spanish now. You can sing the Maronite liturgy in Spanish. And they're doing it in French pretty soon. So for the 2005 Missal, which took us 7 years to produce, Father Jeffrey did all of the music with a team of people. He didn't want to have he wanted to pass things by 20 different people. So he had his team. The prose, or the prayers, Monsignor Michael, also with a team of about 20 different people, English specialists, theologians, and good translators. So the two of them did that work. The future work will be mostly Father Jeffrey, and I'm in charge of the English speaking. So I'll put together a team. Father Jeffrey has already put together a team. Yeah, we're the English, and same with the Catechism, same with the Divine Office. Every English-speaking Maronite in the world will have the same book, thank God. The Divine, all the hymns are done. We're just waiting for Lebanon now. So we'll have the Corbono book, the big red book, and then we'll have the Fanquito book. It'll be a little smaller. That's right. Like St. George, for instance. There's no feast of St. George. St. Stephen, there's no feast of St. Anthony of the Desert. St. Barbara, St. Shalita, St. Shamuni. You probably never heard of some of these.
Rituals. They are like the blessing of the candles,
Yes.
blessing of the water.
Blessing of the, for instance, I'll give you an example. Pentecost, such a beautiful ritual. Kneeling on the right knee, kneeling on the left knee, kneeling on both knees. But the problem is, we love that tradition because for 50 days we were not supposed to kneel. 50 days from Easter to Pentecost we're supposed to stand instead of kneeling. That's why it makes so much sense that we kneel in front of the Son. We kneel in front of the Father. We kneel in front of the Holy Spirit. No, but we don't kneel during the Eucharistic liturgy. That the proper posture is standing for us. But kneeling, we were not even for private devotion. During Easter to Pentecost, the old tradition from the early councils of the church was to stand all the time in God's presence. Yeah. But you see this example, and the patriarch did it. I was with him when he did Pentecost. And I said, Sayyidina, our tradition is richer than this. Don't let some of these people play with it. Everything has its place. Every gesture has its place. You know, some people say the Latin church is better because they kneel. And some people say the Maronite church is better because they stand. No, it's not true. It's just a matter of our heritage. It's different. Yes, so what we've done, Connor, is we took an ancient tradition that was about this big. And because our attention spans are short, we made it about this big. Some people wanted to make it this big. So we met in the middle, and that's why our liturgy takes about an hour if it's celebrated well on a Sunday. We had the liturgy that we have now is different from the liturgy that some of you might have grown up with. The liturgy that we had growing up, that I did not have it, but Monsignor Michael and Father Jim and others remember the old liturgy. It was long, and it was kind of repetitive. It was kind of boring. There was no. So what we did, we took what's called the Husoyo. The Husoyo is the Proemium, the Cedro, the Colo, and the Etro. That's the meat and potatoes of the liturgy of the Word. That's where all of our theology is. It describes the feast. It lifts our hearts up, and it's ancient. It goes back to 4th and 5th century. So we made that the center of our liturgy of the Word. We did that in the 60s. But before that, they had the old liturgy, which is about this big. And some people came up with their own liturgies, which was about this big. Even the patriarch, and I think it was during the war, so he wanted to shorten everything. But we came back to a more reasonable liturgy, and we did it well. That was our reform in the 60s. Some people criticize that. They say it's too, you cut out a lot. They did. Like, for instance, the deacon used to have a very prominent place. Lift your eyes, bow your heads, give one another greeting of peace. He used to have several roles that they cut out. We kept them in our Old English, but Lebanon, they cut them out. Our liturgy has no influence from the Latin Church. The liturgy in the Red Book, the Corbono book, it's all us. Yeah, but thanks for bringing that up. It's all us. Now, years ago, our vestments used to be, and our chalices and even their church interiors used to look more Latin, but we're going back to our original tradition. The old Mass that Monsignor Jim would remember and Monsignor Michael Thomas would remember. Yeah, because they would even do the Confiteor, which is, they would, even the incensing, the incensing. like the Latin. America had the Old Mass from Lebanon, and many priests, when they came, they brought the Old Mass, because that was the Mass, the 1909 Missal. And then in America, God bless, God rest him in peace, Bishop Zayek and Bishop Dwight, they worked hard, and they studied hard, and they came up with their own version of the Maronite liturgy. And it's pretty much that's the one that stuck for the whole church. So America kind of led the way with that. We will do the Fenquito, and that will complete the Corbono. So you have the Corbono and the Fenquito. But we will not do that on our own. I've asked permission from the Patriarchal Liturgical Commission, which I serve on and Father Claude serves on. We gave a whole proposal. We've been working on it for the last couple months. And we just presented that proposal, and we'll see. We hope they'll say yes. And I tried to make the point that years ago, in the 1980s and 90s, the Maronite Church in America had the Book of Offering and a Fenquito. We'd like to now work and give you original texts in Syriac from the 15th or 16th century that we use as base texts, and that will be the base for the Fenquito. Okay?
Thank you,
You're welcome. Thank you.